I'm gonna sit down in the welcome table. I'm gonna sit down in the welcome table someday day. I'm gonna sit down in the welcome.
Growing up here in South Carolina, you know, and always knowing that race was there, but not really discussing it openly, something that you whispered about in your closed groups, in your communities. And then seeing what happened with Dylann Roof in Charleston with the Charleston massacre, and knowing, not specifically knowing those persons, but knowing people who did and who were personally affected, and to see how our state came together when we kind of started talking about these real and raw issues. It's such a horrible time, but just the fact that it opened the door, it took the cover off.
The university knew that something needed to happen. They needed to take some sort of action. So they started looking around for some sort of program that they could implement.
So I was a part of a diversity committee in the College of Social Work here at the university, and we had a visit from John Dozier, and when he came to discuss the work of our committee, he offered to provide more information about this new initiative that I now know as the South Carolina Collaborative of Race and Reconciliation, specifically the Welcome Table.
They found the Welcome Table out of the William Winter Institute for Racial Reconciliation at the University of Mississippi and reached out to Susan Glisson, the founding director there. And we began to have the first Welcome Table circles here in just about exactly 2 years ago now, so in May of 2016. And the Welcome Table process is a three-phase process that uses the power of storytelling to foster understanding and trust in communities, and then eventually work towards making change.
Instantly what caught my attention was this importance of listening and storytelling.
So through the Welcome Table process, participants learned that we're not here to blame and shame each other. None of us created racism, but it is our responsibility to learn how to deal with it. So the Welcome Table is a kind of messy, oftentimes uncomfortable, beautiful discussion that can help participants rewrite their own narrative.
The Welcome Table is an opportunity to share our lived experiences and what I consider stories, you know, kind of like going back to that importance of or power of storytelling and hearing each other, listening to each other.
The first time we recognized race, or the lack of not recognizing race, or our family history, or religion, or our ancestors, and how that knowledge has been passed down from one generation to another. Not necessarily knowing why, but just knowing that it was passed down. So, and then just getting to know one another outside of our roles here at the university. So all 20 of us had an affiliation with the university, either as faculty or staff.
Being a minority, I'm of Mexican descent. Both of my parents were born and raised in Mexico. And it's hard for me to accept that I've experienced it because I feel I myself struggle with, have identity struggles in terms of whether I should identify mostly with Mexican or American. You know, there's those struggles, and so I don't really see myself as what other people might see me as. I realized that I was gonna have to take courage, and part of change takes for some people it takes a little bit more courage to get out there and look past your, you know, whatever it's insecurities you have about yourself to be able to open up to others, because it is important for us to share our stories with others, as uncomfortable as that may be sometimes.
I would say when we were asked to talk about the first time we noticed race, that was a tough one for me, not because I couldn't think of a time, it's because I couldn't think of a time that I didn't. There wasn't a time that I cannot identify a time that I did not notice race. And so while it was extremely eye-opening, it also was a little sad to know that, you know, I've grown up and see my identity as my race, and what feelings that have invoked upon me as a young adult growing up in the South. And so that one will always stick with me. So I kind of feel as if I didn't have an opportunity to discover race. I always knew it was there.
The University of South Carolina is in a unique position to host the Welcome Table. As both the flagship university and the host of several satellite campuses, we're already in several of the communities across South Carolina that may possibly need something like the Welcome Table to come in and help those communities learn to both trust each other and work together in order to heal some of the deeper racial tensions that we know are there.
I'm gonna sit at the welcome table, oh Lordy. I'm gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days, hallelujah.
I look around this room and I'm overwhelmed because 3 years ago we started a project called the Collaborative on Race and Reconciliation. It was really an idea started by our president, Dr. Pastides, who was talking with a board member, and immediately following the tragic events of Mother Emanuel took place down in Charleston.
But we said it's time to take a stand. And then in the aftermath, John and I and many, many other people said, what can we do to contribute to the conversation, to the understanding, to the healing, which is extremely, extremely deep and necessary. I believe in diversity and inclusion not because it's important. I believe in it because you grow up to be a stronger person when you grow up in a diverse and inclusive society. We're not going to change the whole world, but you know, it's like Gandhi said, if you can be the change you want to see close to home in your community, maybe change will happen everywhere. So thank you everyone for coming tonight. Let's see how far we could take the Welcome Table. Thank you all.
I'm gonna sit at the welcome table. I'm gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days, one of these days. I'm gonna sit at the welcome table, oh Lord. I'm gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days, hallelujah. I'm gonna sit at the welcome table. I'm gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days.